Hey everyone, and welcome back on the channel. My name is Alex. In today's video we are looking at the adidas Supernova Rise. This is adidas daily trainer, which was so expected because they didn't have anything compelling and credible, I would even say, in their range of shoes. The Ultra Boost being more of a fitness shoe, lifestyle shoe that can be used for running. It used to be a decent running shoe, but things have changed. The 40 forward is really out of the reality at the moment, at least, and they really needed to have something. The Adistar is a brick, or was a brick. They really needed to have something as a proper, true daily trainer, and they have it. I can already tell you the outcome of this video. It's a very positive outcome, but you had many questions and we will answer all of them. This shoe was gifted to us by adidas. We have no ties whatsoever for this review, so we can say whatever we want. And you can find this shoe starting December 1st in another colorway, green and neon green and black, or black and neon green, on our partner's website. You have the links in the description. Questions, you had many of them. Mostly thoughts on the new foam, durability, comparison to other foams, stability, the usual stuff. Not many more interesting things that brands coming up with new midsole technologies. Dreamstrike technology is interesting, and that's definitely a very cool thing that we have here. There are other cool things here, like the support rods that you can see here in yellow. The outsole that is not continental, also quite interesting. The upper and the fit of the shoe, also quite interesting. Lots of interesting things on this shoe. I will try to address as many of them as possible, but to answer this first question, thoughts on the new foam. It's PIBA based, meaning there's probably a blend of PIBA and EVA. That's how I feel about it. I'm not sure. It's a good foam. It's compliant without being too plush, too soft. It's a good foam that I think could be slightly improved. Especially, I mean, the foam itself I think really doesn't have much to complain about. It's more how it's used in this shoe, and we'll come back to it. How's the ride? Does the 10mm drop feel like high underfoot? Is the stack height protective enough to go longer distances? It feels like a bit less than 10mm, and that's also because it's 10mm as a static shoe, so 36-26, as a static drop, sorry, as a dynamic drop, meaning when you heel strike, the foam being compliant, you compress it and you reduce the drop. So if you are a heel to midfoot striker, you may encounter something that feels a bit more like a 6mm drop. But it feels really good, and it doesn't feel awkward at all. I'm not a fan of 10, 12, 40mm in terms of drop usually, but this doesn't feel like it. Is it protective underfoot for longer distances? And that's already addressing one of the only drawbacks and concerns I have about this shoe. I would have loved to have, 2, 3, 4 extra millimeters of foam in the forefoots. In the heel, yes, why not? I mean, they probably have other brothers and sisters that could one day be like a max version, why not? I could imagine it. A bit more in the forefoot would have been great, especially if you're a full foot striker. Then this shoe doesn't feel super good if you're really striking towards like, the ball of your foot or even your toes. There are some people really running quite far up the front of the shoe. In this case, you just don't feel the Dreamstrike plus foam, whereas in the heel, you can experience it and you can just enjoy a bit more this new foam from adidas. Is it suitable for slow runs, up to 6:30 minutes per kilometers? How does it compare to the Endorphin Speed 3? It's firmer than the Endorphin Speed 3, it's more stable, the fit is better, the comfort at least is better. Is it suitable for slow runs? Yes. I mean, recovery runs is not necessarily the first purpose I would recommend with this shoe, but it works. Definitely it works, and it works basically from as slow as you want until marathon pace, which is really good. Is it soft like other PIBA foams? Which foam does it feel like the most underfoot? It's not as soft as other PIBA foams. It's definitely one of the, remember that it's only PIBA based, which I think is also quite important. It's soft and it's pleasant underfoot. It's much softer than the foam of the Adistar, which I do not remember the name of right now, the Repetitor foam and the Repetitor Plus foam. It's much firmer than the Lightstrike and Lightstrike Pro foams. I mean, no, it's actually close to the Lightstrike Plus foam, the one that was introduced this year on the Boston 12. Yeah, it's somewhere in that ballpark. A bit softer than React from Nike. Probably somewhere like, if you remember the New Balance Fuel Cell TC, this is that ballpark of firmness, softness. Sorry for the reference, but you know, fuel cell having many different foams within the family, you need to go back to one of the shoes that had it. So something like that. When does it release? December 1st in the black and neon green colorway. Aside from covering the latest tech on a relative basis to Lightstrike Pro, where does it fit in the Adidas lineup? And what's the intention coming from the German giant? I think the intention is to have something very fairly priced. $140, €150 is, I think, a very reasonable price point for the overall, you know, tech and shoe that you have. So very good here, and Adidas is very well known also for having discounts on their website. I think they really want to have the daily trainer that will compete against the likes of the Nimbus, the Invincible. You know, if we look even at less max cushion shoes, the Peg, basically the Pegasus from Nike, this is somewhere in between. It's in between the Nimbus and the Pegasus, in between the Invincible and the Kayano, you know, all these shoes. It's somewhere sitting in there, and it's also a true daily trainer for runners and not something that is more for lifestyle training, fitness people, without having absolutely anything against them, of course, but yeah, I think that's what Adidas had in mind. What's expected when it comes to durability? Looking at the thickness of the outsole, I think you can take this shoe up to 3,000 miles. No, I'm kidding, but it will be durable. I can tell you, I mean, that's, you know, just a prediction because I don't even have 50 kilometers on this shoe, but it will be a durable shoe. Interestingly, it doesn't have the Continental rubber on the outsole. I think that's also a cost question for Adidas. It's grippy, just like Continental. So, you know, maybe can they get rid of Continental on other shoes? That's a good question. I mean, the Evo one had that liquid rubber thing. I think Adidas knows how to do a good outsole compound as well. What's gonna be the category for these shoes? Like I said, from recovery to marathon, I would use this for easy jogs. Today I ran 10 kilometers at 5 minutes per kilometer, and that was perfect for this shoe. But you can pick up the pace in this. I'd rather have 2 millimeters more stack in the forefoot and an 8 millimeters drop. So would I. Stack, foam, toe box room, and taper, sizing, length, weight, lacing, comfort. Stack 3626, foam, Dream Strike Plus, PIBA based. Toe box room, it's adjusted. It's definitely not super roomy. The overall fit is superb. I know Adidas really put a lot of effort into the fit of this shoe. The heel is really nice. It's not as plush in terms of upper comfort and fit like, for instance, the Nimbus. The Nimbus, however, has one major drawback for me, and that's the breathability of the upper. This is much more breathable and it's more balanced. You remove a bit of the plushness, but you add lots of breathability, which is good. Weight, this is 290 grams in my size, US 11, EU 45. The Invincible 3 is 295 in my size. The Nimbus is somewhere there as well, 289, I think, from the top of my head. So yeah, it's there with these shoes. It feels a bit lighter, however, when running. So that's also quite interesting. How does it compare to other shoes? I think I addressed it. This is like kind of a more premium Pegasus, a kind of lower to the ground Nimbus and Invincible. It doesn't really feel like an Invincible though, because it's not as bouncy as an Invincible. It's not as cushioned as a Nimbus. So it's somewhere in between that, you know, baseline Pegasus type of shoe, Invincible if you want to compare with Nike, but we can do other brands. Close to the ground than the 10 ATV 13, but it's higher than, let's say, a Supercom Pacer. You know, it's in between basically. I think it's not a category per se, or like, it's not its own category. That's what I'm trying to say. It fits in a category of daily trainers with a bit of ground feel, with a new foam, and with a great fit, if that makes sense. How does the ride of this shoe differ from the Boston 12 and Adios 8? So basically, why does this one exist? It's fairly simple, I think. The Boston and the Adios are much lighter. The Boston being more of an up-tempo shoe. This shoe, yeah, you don't really use this shoe for up-tempo paces. That's where the Boston takes the relay, and then the Boston stops around, you know, 10 kilometer pace. And that's where the Adios really kicks in. So it's really like, if you want to build a rotation, this would be the recovery, easy endurance shoe, and then you take the Boston for tempo, marathon, half marathon pace, and then the Adios for 10K and 5K. Really different shoes. Also, Boston and Adios from the Adizero family come with the Lightstrike Pro foam with much more energy return. I mean, slightly softer, sorry, and a decent extra amount of energy return. And energy rods instead of support rods, which I think is also interesting. This is it, Supernova Rise. I will come up with more thoughts about this shoe in a later video. I really like it. I think it's a very good shoe for Adidas to have in their lineup. It's not going to be my primary easy shoe though, because I like to have a bit more foam under the forefoot. That's also because of the injuries I've had in this area. So, you know, I think it will go out of my rotation around 100 kilometers, but I will definitely put more mileage on it before, just to be able to provide you with more insights. It also has some brothers and sisters coming, the Supernova Stride, which is a kind of more entry-level option compared to this shoe, and the Supernova Solution, which is a stability version of this shoe that has support rods basically joined together one by one to kind of create a bit more support, I guess. Let's link to the Adistar. I think this was the latest kind of daily trainer I tried from Adidas. Or let's link to Adizero. Well, you'll see that will be a surprise on your screen. Thanks a lot for watching. Enjoy your run today, enjoy your ride, and go beyond your limits. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.